Okay.
So hello, Virginia. Harper, I am so happy to have you and so grateful and appreciative that you're spending your time with us. I'd like to introduce you to the Chewers United. There's 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 8 or so of us, and a few more people may be joining and listening to the recording as well. So whenever you want to start, Ginny, you just take it away and we'll have a good time.
Okay, so I guess they know I'm mostly focused on digestion, digestive health. Okay. And I understand you all have been doing a program as a group. Is that correct? Can I get a little feedback how that's going, and if you stayed on it, if it was difficult, easy, and what have you gained from it? And then really I'm open to questions, because there's so much the way the body changes that I would love to open it up for questions. So just a couple of you share with me what that trip was like for you. Okay, Ruth.
So I'm just going to say we started it at different times, basically.
Okay.
So we ended at different times, and I was the first starter, and I think I lasted less long than anybody else. I lasted 7 days, and then I started transitioning to miso soup.
Okay.
That for 3 days, and then a diet after that. And I found, in general, the good thing is it changed my personality some. And some ways that were not good and has changed back, and other ways I slowed down and I feel like I'm more discerning than I was. So I really like that. In terms of digestion, well, actually, one thing I really wanted to work on was my night sweats that I was having all the time, and I'm not having them anymore. So I had 1 day, and now I seem to be not having them, which is great. In terms of digestion, my digestion was never better than when I was on that rice fast.
Wow.
But my motivation was next to zero. I had a lot of apathy and depression, and which is my usual. I mean, I don't usually have apathy, but I usually have, it's an issue for
So
me.
that magnified during those days.
It was not good. And also I got down to 97 pounds, and that felt scary because I have osteoporosis. So I'm now back up to 98 and a half, or 99 and a half today.
Okay.
I ate a lot yesterday. But what I'm finding is my kishkas are gurgling, and instead of having 1 bowel movement a day, I'm sometimes having 3 or 4, 5, or it's different every day. It's different.
Okay.
So
let me ask, did you do any fermented products along with the rice? Did
yes.
you eat sauerkraut or?
Yes, every meal.
Okay.
Yeah, I did along with the rice. I'm not actually having as much ferments now that I'm having a lot of vegetables again. I'm not having as much protein as I was having before the diet.
Okay.
My vegetables are up.
Okay.
I think I might have been having too much protein. I was always very bloated, and I'm sometimes bloated now, but not as much as I used to be.
Okay.
But I was not bloated at all with the rice.
Yeah.
It was I just felt, it felt simpler and it felt good. I had a taste in my mouth all the time of the rice, something. It was just not good. I was so glad to add miso soup. It just felt like
to add a little something to it. Yeah.
Like all these troopers here, they did the 10 days. It was too much for me. It really was too much. So
and it really is individualized. I did 3 weeks when I was healing 40 years ago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, 40 years ago when I started, I did 3 weeks, but it would be 4 days and then miso soup 1 day. And so it was broken up by miso soup, vegetables, then 3 more days. And And I did that rotation just to get my body to start digesting again, because you have to remember I was at a point of no digestion. And
Oh.
so all those tastes you talk about, all that, it is true. You release a lot from the liver. And when you release from the liver, whenever you do a fast,
Oh.
there is that metally taste, that dryness people talk about, different sensations that happen. And I thought of you a lot when Ginny reached out to me, because I was kind of envious of oh, wow, I wish I could be doing that. And I knew at this point in my life, with taking care of my mother and then taking care of my new grandbaby was not conducive to me being quiet and meditative, which is something you want to do in any fast. You want to pull in, you want to quiet your world and not be pulled away.
Yeah.
For years, I did a 5-day fast around my birthday. Your birthday month is very significant. So even though you, Ruth, especially since you lasted a few days, is very commendable. That's great. I mean, that's a week. And so I challenge you that around your birthday to do that for yourself as a treat, as a gift, because our birthday month is very energetically charged. Is when we made our entrance into the world, right? We needed a lot of energy and determination to finally decide to be born. And you can ride on that same energy every birthday month, so I would do my birthday week. My birthday is January 8th. So I would have Thanksgiving, I would have the Christmas holidays, then I would have my birthday. And that would be my goal, is to, for a week after my birthday, to do a fast, clean up, balance, and meditate was my focus. And it is unbelievable how quickly it calibrates your body back and clears up the brain. And the first few days, you may feel a little foggy headache because you're dispersing so much and things have to come out. But after that, the clarity, because you're beginning to awaken, or you're reawakening your neurotransmitters that are receiving information from the gut. The gut bacteria, the gut nervous system, the immune system, that's all in the gut, is all of a sudden you're receiving new information up there. So it all works differently.
So are you saying that that week we should do rice again, or we should do 3 days of rice and 1 day of miso and veggies and then 3 days of rice?
I just do the rice now, or did. I haven't done it in a few years, but when I was consistently doing that year after year, I would just do the rice.
For 7 days?
Yeah. And I was conscientious about drinking liquid in between, because you don't want to dry your intestines out too much. And so you do want to have hot water, is what I don't know, that's something you did not with in between to keep people hydrated, but hot water is usually as simple as hot water. You don't have to guzzle down a gallon of cold water in any way. Just some hot water usually does it. So, but it's very enlivening, and it is anti-aging. It perks up all those programming to anti-age. So all that's a French benefit. But thank you for sharing. Anybody else would like to share? I would love to hear your experience.
First of all, you said 5 days for the fast?
Yeah, that's what I did. You can do 7. Yeah.
She did 5.
Yeah.
So I basically love the simplicity of it, really did. Love that I didn't have to think about food. I love the quietness. I did experience a couple times eating with other people, and I lost my count of chews, but I was able to chew. I knew I chewed, and it was still, and I wasn't as tempted as I thought I would be by the other foods, and they were great foods. So I was glad about that. Felt good.
So
Um,
are you in a household where other people are cooking?
we had, oh yeah, but I
Oh,
don't,
wow.
I eat alone. I eat when they're not eating. They
Oh,
eat
wow.
late, they eat
Still,
late, so I
that's
don't.
very commendable. When I fast, I let my family know that I'm fasting because my job is to cook for people and be around food a lot. And so I kind of announce that, which makes me more accountable.
Yeah,
Not because people are going to be asking me.
that was a big debate I had before because I thought they were going to react with, wow, you're weirder than you usually are, you know. But I was glad I did, you know, I came out of the closet or whatever you call it.
Well, that's
And
great.
that wasn't,
Yeah.
I wasn't teased as much as I thought I would be. So that was,
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. And I don't
But-
cook. And I just pull away from cooking. I'm not around food. I tell people not to bring me anything. And
Right.
I just go into this Nietzsche used to call it nun state. I remember a couple of my clients that I took to see Nietzsche with very strong conditions like brain tumor one time. I took my friend to him and he wanted her to fast. And she had a family she had 5 kids at home. And he told her, try to find your place where you're not being pulled by anybody else and be like a nun for that amount of time. He told her to fast.
Yeah.
And that's what you want to do. Very, very connected to spirit, very, go inside that spiritual part of yourself, because we are good about taking care of our physical, because when we hurt, we want to take care of. And so to know that emotion and spiritual is all what makes us a whole person, we have to pay attention to those other parts too. So that's wonderful. Thank you. Anybody else?
I didn't
Yeah,
finish.
yes. I didn't mean to cut you off.
I don't know which day, 5, 6, I forgot who was on. I told them who was on. I don't remember. Said I was getting bored with rice. I mean, I liked it, but I was getting bored. So he said, add pumpkin seeds. And that made a world of difference because I had a crunch now to eat.
Yes.
But we weren't guided. And I think if we were to do it again, this is really important. We weren't as strictly guided how to end as we were how to do it. And I was so anxious to eat food again that I really didn't go off slowly. So this was last Wednesday was our first day off. So that's about almost a week. So just yesterday or the day before, I decided I want to go back and do more rice, but with food and not clear how much of what, but
yeah. And it is as important as your intention going in, as your intention coming out. So as I know that I'm going into my fast, which week I pick, I don't go out and indulge in everything, because then I'll have more detox coming out. I start cutting my food back. I start cutting back oil. I start cutting back anything that's heaviness leading up to my fast. And then coming out of it, I start slowly too, usually with miso vegetable soup. That's one of my favorite, the safest, I think, and the body responds to it well. So I come out of it slowly, building up to my regular eating again. So
what exactly is slowly? So the first day you'll have some soup, but how much do you add and how soon after?
Well, if you notice, your stomach shrinks, right? So the miso soup, I make a big batch of miso soup, and every time I get hungry during that day, I'll eat a miso soup just to stop the hunger. So I don't jump out of my fast. I just slowly start satisfying that hunger that's beginning to reawaken. Because if you notice, into your 3rd or 4th day of the fast, it's easy, right? It's the first couple of days that's the hardest. And then the sugar level balance. That's a whole biochemistry that happens when your brain gets the programming, your vagus nerves settle down, all the connections stop screaming for what they're used to having, and you settle. And so, and then coming out of it is not a ravish hunger. It's mentally you're telling yourself you're coming out of it, so that cues the stomach to be hungrier than it was the day before. And so I just eat enough to satisfy that. I don't eat like I did before I went to the fast.
So that's the first day, and then
it just each day increase. If I need to do, if I want to do the miso soup for 2 days in a row, I do that. But then I go into root vegetables. I go into millet. I go into, just other grains. I've started introducing back other grains. And each day you start supplying more of what the body's wanting in the most gentle digestive way possible.
thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Anybody else? How about puffiness and liquid? Did you, any of you find that you got rid of, I know the stools change, but a lot of us aren't aware how much we eliminate water too. Excess water when you're fasting, and your puffiness goes away. Yeah. Your puffiness goes away, swelling goes away. So much of that happens. One of the most direct ways to affect the body is to keep it away from food when you're really ill. You have to drink water. You have to keep it hydrated. But if you think of the hospital, when people go to the hospital and they're not sure what's going on with them, the first thing they do is put you on liquids and IVs, right? That's one of the more smarter things they do at the hospital, because they want to keep you hydrated. They want some level of nutrition in, but they give you full body rest. And that's really consciously what we try to do in seasonal cooking, especially. In seasonal cooking, we try to pay attention to what's appropriate for which organ systems seasonally, so we can let the others rest. And we nurture and take care of that one organ system. So coming up in winter, everybody know what the winter organs are? Who knows?
Come on, Arlene, you
Bladder.
know this.
Kidney and bladder. Water.
Yeah, the water organs: kidney, bladder, adrenal, sexual, reproductive. So those are the ones we start nurturing as soon as wintertime hits. And it gives the other ones a chance to rest, to take a break. All right. And then as you move into spring, you do liver, gallbladder. So you can really work with these energies in a very beneficial way. If you know nothing else of trying to figure yourself out all the time, then just following the laws of nature, the energetic influences we live by. You don't have to know a lot of details, just listen to your body and follow those and see what your body does. And it tells us really quickly, this is feeling good, this is feeling right. And Bruce, for you to decide, 7 days is enough for me, is very, very self-caring, it's self-responsibility. It's like any yoga class you go to, they say, do it to your ability. Yeah, I want to do it like the yoga teacher, but what's my ability? Yeah, we all want to be like it not, but what's my ability?
No, I didn't know it was supposed to be all miso soup, but the 8th, 9th, and 10th day I had miso soup and vegetables with the rice.
Yeah. And that's fine. That's just one way I do it, is when I come out of it, I just go to to that liquid and vegetables, but yeah.
And then the 11th day I had veggies and beans, but no oil.
Okay. Yeah.
I think the 11th, 12th, I didn't have oil until at
Yeah.
least 2 weeks.
Okay. Yeah. That's awesome. And do we know why we fast with rice? Why do we choose rice to fast with?
It's a complete food.
It's one of our more complete foods for sure. But rice energetically is a digestive healer.
I'm washing my rice.
Look at you watching your rice. It's a digestive healer. Through the Asian countries, I was born and raised in South America, and whenever our tummies hurt, we would get cream rice. We would get a barley or cream rice porridge to settle our tummies. And so to do a fast on brown rice, you're doing so much benefit at so many levels. You know, we practice our chewing, which is directly correlates to how we're going to metabolize and trigger those enzymes to work better, to the actually breakdown of the rice fully to get all its nutrients out of it, but also to prepare the rice to be the food for good bacteria. So the bacteria you already have in your gut feeds off the complex sugars from the rice and makes more. So you're actually giving more food to your microbiome by taking time to chew the rice. And they've done studies on this across the board with different foods. And rice is definitely the winner. That complex, the carbohydrate, that complex sugar that rice provides is very powerful. So you can fast with anything, you know, but this one definitely for the digestive does the best. Anything else? Any questions that come up or any, as you did your program?
Yeah, Virginia, I have a question.
Okay.
I was worried about being hungry while I was on the fast, but
Yeah.
I ate about every 2.5 hours, very small
Okay.
portions to keep the blood sugar stable and keep food constantly going through my system. And I was surprised that I did not have any hunger pains or desire to eat until I started coming off of the diet. And then I started adding vegetables and soup. And between times when I would not be eating, I would be craving foods. So I
Yeah.
found that surprising. I was wondering, in your background in digestive health, is it better to have several small meals throughout the day instead of the typical breakfast, lunch, and dinner? Or is it, is there
Yeah.
one way that's better than the other?
You know, it's so individualized. It really is on how you metabolize. Some people metabolize fast, some people metabolize slow, and how you're maintaining your sugar levels. Because if you could do 3 meals a day, that would be pretty perfect because you allow your stomach and everything to rest in between. But we live in a society that keeps us busy and distracted all the time. And with food commercials on our faces, so we're always being influenced and fed other ways. So sometimes our nervousness creates more of a need to keep our blood sugars level. And so I found through the years that I really monitor people by what their body's doing, whether they need 2 or 3 meals or 4 or 5 a day. Always keeping in mind that the last meal is going to be lighter and at least 3 hours from the time you go to bed, because you do not want your stomach working. So 2 things happen when you're eating all the time, grazing, and some people graze throughout the day. Even if they eat 4 or 5 times during the day, they're snacking. A lot of that is emotional. A lot of that is nervous eating. And so you have to work at it a little differently, but you have to give your body a chance to digest the food and to send it out as nutrition information out to the body. When you're digesting, then other parts of you are not as sharp. When you're digesting, you're not using your brain to the capacity it needs to be. So that's where I would look, am I needing food to keep my blood sugar because that maintains my energy? And eating in between the main 3 meals too doesn't mean other main meals. It just means eat something enough to cut that hunger and balance your sugar. Sometimes it's 3 bites. Sometimes I'll take 3 bites of something and that's all I need. And so this is where you can monitor that and really individualize it for yourself.
Great, thank you.
That answer here.
Mhm.
Anything else? Or anything you not would like for me to elaborate on?
Arlene, do you have anything?
You're muted.
I said it's interesting. I went on the diet because I wanted to do a cleanse and I wanted to learn to chew better. And so I did learn to chew better. And I didn't mind the rice. I liked the rice. But my problem was that I had just traveled abroad. I live in Israel and I happen to be in California. So I had just traveled. And I started 2 days later because of my traveling. I think I was a bit jet lagged. So I don't know if my tiredness came just from eating just brown rice or if my tiredness was the jet lag, but the diet itself was okay for me. And when I got off the diet, the first morning I had miso soup and I had added some vegetables. And I thought, okay, so maybe I'll cut back on my rice because I'm having the soup and I'm having the vegetables, I'm having other things. I didn't want to eat so much rice. So I cut back a little bit on the rice on the day I got off the diet. The following day, I was starving all day long. I couldn't seem to quite fill up, but I'm okay now. I think I balanced it out, but I was kind of surprised at how hungry I was.
Yeah. So we're reminded so much what a miracle the body is, how resilient and how adaptive it is. If part of going into a fast is cueing the body, hey, we're not going to get what we usually get, so deal with it. And the way he deals with it, you kind of I decided on mind, and your body nervous system calms down. And then when your body knows, hey, we can start eating again, it lets you know, right? And so it is phenomenal how that happens. I have had the experience of, especially at the beginning when I was in my more sensitive years of healing, I would travel with food or make sure there was food wherever I went, that accessible to me. But there was once or twice that I got caught, either a flight got canceled and I ended up spending the night at airports, and you do that once or twice and it's not fun. Anyway, I was without food. And there's an anxiety that comes over us of, oh my gosh. But as soon as I turn my thinking, oh, I'm just going to fast until I get home. It's amazing how my body and mind adjusted, and it was fine. And I didn't have anxiety, and all the smells didn't get to me, but I had to tell my mind, I had switched my thinking. And we see this when people are really ill and want to heal, that the last frontier is the mind, when it should be the first to tell us where to go. And I remember my own healing. I had been sick for 7 years, in and out of hospitals. And I finally had this chance of maybe stopping my symptoms through this macrobiotic program I was being told about. And I was willing to give it a chance because I didn't like what the medical was offering me. And my counselor was Bill Spear, and he said, okay, well, after you settle everything and you know, you get rid of the Crohn's and you get rid of the blood disease, then what are you going to do? What's your life going to be like? And I had never thought of that, because for 7 years I had been told I wouldn't live long and I would not be able to have a life practically. I was stuck with these diseases. And so it wasn't until he pushed me enough to think beyond that, to think, what is wellness for you? What is being healed and happy mean for you? What is that picture? I didn't have that picture in my mind. I only had the picture of survival. I don't want to hurt tomorrow. I don't want to bleed tomorrow. I don't want to, you know. Somebody's not muted. Yeah. Oh, you. Okay. And so this is the mind doing that. So think about when Ginny presented the program to you. You got in that mindset. You got motivated. You got, yeah, let's do this. So your body was already going in that direction. So as you're coming out of fast, the same thing. Okay, now we can eat. I want everything. So it is such a powerful thing, because our mind tells us where we can go. And that's the only limit we have, is our thoughts. And once you open those up, and once you see the possibility, my family, my kids especially, they know me as the person that doesn't have no in her vocabulary, because they'll tease. They say, oh, don't tell mom she can't, because she'll figure out a way. If you don't want to do something, you tell me I don't want to do it. That's not something I want to participate in. Because if you tell me, no, I can't, then I'll help you find a way. Because there's always a way when you open up your mind to it. So.
Okay, thank you.
I'd like to get,
How much time do you have?
oh, it's up to you. It's
Okay.
whatever.
All
Yeah.
right. I have
I
about
just would
15
like
more
to,
minutes,
that's fine.
Yeah,
Very
good.
good. I'm wondering, just even a show of hands or something, how many think that they're glad that they did it, as opposed to, I wish I hadn't. So we've got 3, 4,
Okay.
and Kristen, we don't know. So everyone's glad. We're all glad that we
Yeah.
did it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had somewhat of a more difficult time. I had some good moments. I had some real clarity.
Mhm.
I lost about 5 kilos, which is quite a
Wow.
lot. Yeah. So, and you know, every woman likes to be skinny, I guess. All right. So that's nice. My problem was coming off of it, and also just before finishing, I got myself in too young a condition. And
Mhm.
when I used to tell myself, oh, I'm too young, it was like, I guess, or, you know, and I felt it so physically in my body that it was, if I were looking from outside, it would be really interesting to have experienced what it means to be too young, to have actually gone through that experience of being so tight and so closed and so limited. I had trouble finding my joy, I think, because I was so self-restricted. And then I made the mistake. I went for an aerobics class, and then I went to the jacuzzi and the dry sauna and the wet sauna, and I was fasting, and it just, yeah, it was, whoa, that was when I recognized in my body what it means to be too young. And then kind of like Arlene and Brian, some of the others, I understood, everyone warned us about when we finish. And my understanding was, well, eat soft food. So I made soft millet and I had miso soup. I didn't pay attention to amounts. So I just couldn't get enough of this food. I just wanted more and more and more. And boy, I got really ill. I was regurgitating and I had diarrhea for several days. I mean, I was really it
Yeah.
was not pleasant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So,
Wow.
yeah. So I don't think it was right for me to do it the whole 10 days. I did it for ego. I did it to be with the group. I did it because, like, how
Yeah.
can I not? That kind of thing.
Right.
I think what Ruth did was better. I think it would have been better for me to. I had these experiences of clarity about day 8, and that was that was huge. I mean, that was just wonderful. That was a real connection, a really a wonderful feeling.
Mhm.
And then, who knows, right? You can only know by hindsight.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah, it is incredible. People have asked me, how did you manage to stay on track all these years? And mind you, I don't need the way I did that first year of healing, because you have to evolve and you have to go as your body changes, you go with the changes. Like when I hit menopause, it was, oh, this is not working anymore. And I've been doing this for so long. So I had to switch things around when I went through menopause. But it's interesting to listen to your body at that level, to really get it and not question it. Because I know so many times I would get a thought, I would get an impression, I would get, oh, okay, this is enough of this. And I'm not going to pay attention to that. And you go on and you realize that was your teaching. That was what came through. That was, you connecting with yourself totally to have a truth or a guidance come through. And so I do agree that cleansing process is very self-educating. And to know when and how and why, and sometimes you can't even fill in all those blanks, but all you do is say, okay, it's time to do this different and that different. And I found myself trusting that as the years, because it never led me wrong when I have trusted it. And eating little food always does better for the body. There's a movement for a while of people fasting 1 day a week, and I thought, wow, this is great. People may be doing it and that's a fad, but they had no idea what benefit they're doing to the body to fast 1 day. And we can all do 1 day. We can all let our body rest for 1 day. And fasting can be no food, especially if you do it 1 day. It can be just liquids. It can be just brown rice. It can really be anything, as long as it's appropriate for your body where it is. So it's a cleansing of mind, body, and soul. It really is.
Arlene, you had something?
So, yeah, I wanted to say that I kind of liked it so much that I've been thinking about doing like a 3-day fast, like once a month or something, to see how that goes.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Do you think for 3 days, by the time you get into it and your body starts to adjust and then you're done, you think it's
Well,
worthwhile?
But I think it will focus me on my chewing and stuff. I have a tendency, so I was doing the 10-day fast. I was really very, very good with my chewing. I sat with my food. I didn't have anything with me. I wasn't on the computer. I wasn't looking at anything. And then I kind of lose it. It's already been a few days and already I have to check this. I'm in the middle of eating. I got to check something, something pops into my head. I got to follow through, because otherwise it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
That kind of a
And
thing.
it's not going to happen because you forget about it.
Yeah.
Okay. So I've learned to keep a pad and pen by my bedside, by my dining room table. And that's how I clear my mind quickly, because it's getting it out of here and knowing you wrote it down that you're going to come back to it, triggering you keeping you from being triggered to jump at that moment and going. So it's just a little trick I've learned to keep my mind uncluttered. And it works because it keeps me more in the moment. And I saw your little pad there, cannot. How do you use it?
Yeah, I've got one at the desk. I've got one near my bed, and I've got one in the kitchen on the dining room table.
Yeah.
So yeah, so if I have a thought and it's like, it's really
Yeah.
great for remembering dreams.
Yeah. Inspiration come in the moment's time, right? And that's how you want to catch it. I'm in Nashville, so I end up working with a lot of music people. And I have quite a few clients who are songwriters. And they'll be set up for the appointment or something. And this has happened a couple of times, and I'll see that they're pulled up, but they're not coming in. And finally they come in with these little pieces of paper, napkins. Sorry, I had a song inspiration. I had to write it down right away, Oh, I said, I'm not going to interrupt that magical, creative process. So, but they know when it comes, you write it down immediately, So, and it's a beautiful way of honoring your mind to pay attention to it instead of always, never mind.
Mine's the opposite.
Yeah.
I wanted to spend less time, like everything I was interested in, I would go online and Google it, and then I would go on this whole rabbit hole. So I write it down in here. And then after a couple of days, I look at it, and most of those things I'm not interested in anymore. So I save myself a lot of time.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, that would be another way to unclutter.
Mm-hmm.
Make things that are important really important.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Nice. Well, I want to commend all of you for the experiment. And I mean, really, if I had little medals to give you, I would give you the medals because I've done it and I know what a commitment it is. And but I see you all gain something powerful for yourselves. And that's really what this whole life journey is about. And so to take those treasures and embrace them. And thank you so much for letting me be a little part of it. Even though I didn't chew rice along with you, I was thinking about you.
We'll join you on your birthday.
Okay, deal.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming. This is really helpful.
Oh, good. I'm
Great
glad
to meet you
enjoyed
too.
it. Yeah, it's nice to meet
Yeah.
you. Where's
Thank you.
everybody from? I'm just curious. Bruce, where are you?
I'm in Jerusalem.
Jerusalem. And Brian?
I'm in Cleveland, Ohio.
In Ohio. Okay.
Yeah.
And Arlene, where it's raining, where are you?
I'm in Jerusalem also right now.
Okay. Jerusalem. And Clara.
Outside of Jerusalem. 15
Okay. Okay. Wow.
And Kristen, we haven't heard from you. Do you want to pop in?
Hi, Kristen.
I'm in Fairhaven, Massachusetts.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't do the 10 days. I participated some days and not others.
Okay.
But it was still a good experience.
Okay. All right. Well, can you share just a little bit about doing it that way? What
Yeah, I did do it for 10 days once when I was 23.
Okay.
And I'm 40 now, so it's been a while.
Okay.
And I had, huge things happen to me that time. And it was really interesting experience. And then I had done it once several years ago. I was having a really bad skin issue and I couldn't figure out what it was. So I thought, well, I'll just eat rice and that'll take care of it. But it actually started to get worse because I was probably discharging something. But so after 5 days, I stopped because I was not doing well. So then this time, I really just kind of wanted to reset because my macrobiotic diet had gotten quite wide. And I was indulging in things that I normally wouldn't have even eaten a few years ago.
Yeah.
So I just thought it would be a good, really get really strict and reset. But after a couple days, I just felt like really young. And what I mean by that is like through my torso, my organs felt like really tight. I was starting to get cramps in my legs. Like I just felt like I was tight, and maybe I was young to start with, but I wasn't feeling great. So I would eat rice for breakfast and lunch, and then at dinner I would have rice with some cooked vegetables, and that really helped me. And then it seemed like that after I did that, the following day I could eat just the rice and feel great. But then if I did it 2 days in a row, by the end of that second day, I wasn't feeling great. So I was just, the first teacher that spoke to us, Michael Rossoff, really encouraged us to listen to our body. So that's what I did. So some days I would do diet number 7, and other days I would have a small amount of vegetables. But even all in all, I probably only went 5 or 6 days doing that. And then I just kind of went back to my regular diet.
Okay. All right. And did you find that cravings and sensations improved from your wide eating? Did you find
Yeah.
it brought it to the middle a little bit more? Yeah.
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 It was definitely helpful. And I think I also learned a little bit about, you know, when you're just eating the way you do on a daily basis, I think you can kind of lose track of balance of yin and yang, because you just kind of are in the moment every day.
Yeah.
So it really kind of set me to see like, oh, this is where I'm really at on the
Yeah.
scale of things.
Good. Good. Yeah. So I benefit at every level, you know, that's what's nice about bringing consciousness to eating. You know, no matter what you choose to do, just bringing the consciousness to it, there's a lot of good changes. You know, as a counselor, I tell people to avoid a list. That's really triggering them right now. So I give them a list to avoid. And it takes them 3 days to get organized to my program and buy the ingredients and get organized in the kitchen. But in those 3 days of them avoiding, they already start feeling better because you're taking away the excesses, you're taking away the extremes. So thank you, Kristen. That's very, very thoughtful of you, and a good way to do it. It's always about listening to our bodies. So. Well,
Right.
congratulations again. I'm really proud of everybody.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Ginny.
Oh, you're welcome.
It's really great to have you with us. You have such a nice understanding and such a gentle presentation. It's really a pleasure. Thank you.
Oh,
Thank you
you're
very much.
welcome. You're welcome. It's always fun, Pilar. I wish you all well. Keep chewing and keep opening your minds and testing your bodies. Have a good holiday season.
Thank you.
Great.
You
Thank
too.
you.
Thanks, you too.